In the end, we will not be remembered by the words of our enemies, but by the silence of our friends and the sacrifices we made for our truth. Martin Luther King. When I sit back and I think about the world, and I think about the people who oppose my point of view, our point of view, if you're watching this, I think like the battle is already won, because the people that we're battling against, they've forgotten the meaning of the word sacrifice. We live in this world where people think that everything should just be handed to them. They believe that they can just manifest or dream things into existence with no action. And so when they see someone taking action to create the environment or situation that they want, you look like you're crazy to them. You look like you are, psychotic to them. They just can't put together this idea that you have to work for what you want. There's a very famous quote that says, "Don't complain about the things that you didn't get from the work that you didn't do." And is that not exactly what we're witnessing in the world today? You see people complaining about every damn thing when they haven't done a lick of work or made a single sacrifice to affect change in whatever area they are directing their criticism. We look at the war in Iran. We look at, the price of gas. We look at the cost of living. And everybody around is just like, you know what? I don't like what I'm seeing. So somebody, not me, needs to do the work to make these things free or more affordable, or to bring peace to the Middle East and all this stuff. But the only problem is that when you work, and you work in earnest and you really want results, work creates discomfort, especially if the work is hard. And so people want others to do the work that's necessary to create the world that they want, but they want to complain and criticize the people who are doing the work because doing the work makes them uncomfortable. Imagine being made uncomfortable by work that you refuse to do, and then criticizing the person who actually takes on the risk of doing the work. That's basically what I see in the world today. That's basically the spirit in which the world is moving today. You got the doers and you got the talkers. And the doers are doing all the work, and the talkers, the critics, are criticizing the doers while refusing to do anything themselves. I know for a fact that this is not the way it should be, but for some reason this is the way it is. Now, can it be changed? Of course it can be changed, but that takes for other people who are doers in other avenues of life to connect with the doers who are dealing with, the administration of our country, the situations globally. We need to connect on the truth that we all understand as doers, and stop allowing ourselves to be manipulated and dragged into the world of the complainers. There's a saying my friend used to say. He used to say, haters gonna hate and ain'ters gonna ain't. I ain't listening to no ain'ters. I ain't listening to no haters, but I always have an open ear for a doer, because I know with doers I can get things done, versus sitting up with a bunch of complainers, people who don't do anything, simply criticizing work that they absolutely refuse to do. So, you're going to go out today. There's a lot of things that you're going to accomplish. There's a lot of things that you're going to want to accomplish that you're probably not going to accomplish. But guess what? You got to give it an effort. You got to give it a try. Nothing beats a failure but a try, right? Don't become a critic. Don't become an armchair quarterback, as they call it. A backseat driver, as they call it. Always make sure that when you level a criticism, you're not asking of another person something that you are unwilling to do yourself. The people who are controlling things, the people who are doing these jobs that we criticize, they're in those positions for a reason. And 9 times out of 10, they're in those positions because there was no one else who was willing or capable of doing the job. Just give them that much understanding, that much grace, that much respect. And I think you'll find that things will pan out a lot better for you. than if you just sit up and criticize. Because 90% of criticism is born from emotion. That's just the reality of it. It's not really coming from a place of, of love. It's not coming from a place of concern. It's really just coming from a place, of emotion. I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm pissed off, right? I'll leave you with a quote from Napoleon Hill. He said, great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice and is never the result of selfishness. When you level your criticisms, when you direct them at someone, you always need to ask yourself, is my criticism coming from a place of selfishness? Is it just me wanting things the way I want them with no concern for anyone else or how it will affect anyone else? And if you're being honest with yourself, most people will realize, yeah, that is me kind of being selfish. That is me hyper focused on me and not really thinking about the greater ramifications of what I'm saying or what I'm doing. But a lot of us just don't know how to step outside of ourselves and really give a objective examination to the things we say, the things we do, and the criticisms that we have. We got to get better. Do the work. Some people call it the shadow workers, but whatever it's called. But just do the work of knowing enough to know that you don't know anything, and going out and continuing to learn and working very hard to understand, the context of situations at a greater capacity than you currently do. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for this channel. Till the next time, peace.